In the last video, we talked about the dominant chord. Equipped with this knowledge, we've gained more control over our music. Progressing through chords in music is called chord progressions. Chord progressions, much like a melody, help direct and move a song. Its gravity or weight on a song has much more influence on our ears than melody. Our chord progression can make a song happy, or a different chord progression can make the same song sad. So let's dive in and see how the chords progress. With careful examination of notes on the piano, we can see some chords share notes. Take a look at the C major chord. We have the notes C, E, and G. C, E, G. Can you find a chord that has any of these notes? How about the E minor chord? E minor has E, G, and B. E, G, B. Both of these chords have the notes E and G. Because of this, we should expect the sound to be similar, right? So what does this all mean? For chord progressions, it means if you go from C major to E minor, the transition between chords should be subtle and easy on the ears. Remember about intervals? If we count up from C and count up to E, we have 1, 2, 3. So E is a third from C. 1, 2, 3. We've now found that any chord a third away from a chord will be a subtle effect on our ears. Let's try one more. How about a third up from E? 1, 2, 3. So a third up from E is G. Let's compare the notes from the E chord and the G chord. E has E, G, and B. E, G, B. Now how about our G major chord? G has G, B, and D. So we can see that both chords have G and B, two similar notes, just as we've seen with the chords C major and E minor. If we were creating a song and perhaps we didn't know what chord exactly we wanted, the only information we had was we knew that we needed a subtle movement. A chord a third from our current chord would be a good place to investigate. We have another interval that is subtle. This time we will count up 6 and compare the chords. Starting on C in the key of C major, let's count up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth interval from C is A. So let's compare notes from the C major chord and the A minor chord. C major has C, E, and G. C, E, G. Now, for A minor, we have A, C, and E. A, C, E. Notice the similarity? Both chords have the C and E note. With this, the ear has some familiarity after the transition. So let's review what we have just learned so far. Intervals of a third or a sixth used in a chord progression give the effect of a subtle progression. Because when we move in these intervals of a third or a sixth, the chords we progress to has similar notes. We have one more chord that is subtle. This time, however, it is slightly less subtle than the previous intervals. This time, let's count up to an interval of a fourth. So, starting on C, in C major, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth note is F, so we have our chord F major. Let's once more examine the notes between the two chords. C major has C, E, and G. C, E, G. How about the F major chord? We have F, A, and C. F, A, C. Can you see the connection? So when we move between these chords in our chord progression, the sound pivots on the C note. How about intervals that are not subtle? We know from our previous video the dominant chord, the fifth interval in our scale, is not subtle because it creates a lot of tension and wants to resolve. So we know intervals of fifths are not subtle. How about the other ones? If we go up from C to D, we should know right away that this is not a subtle progression. This progression has no similar notes because all we've done is shifted up one step. The D minor chord exists in a different domain entirely. We now know how to control the weight of our progressions. There are 3 intervals in our toolbox for subtle movement and 2 intervals to shake things up.